Sorry, in Iran and Israel case, or in Iran and US case, there's an asymmetric warfare. Also, the model can be taken to Europe, like Ukraine versus Russia. But in case of Pakistan, despite the difference of size between Pakistan and India, the results have been astoundingly different. Is it capability? Is it capability plus intention, or both combined, a new doctrine that you're looking at?
I think a lot has to do with intention, Talat, because you have to put forth a budget. You have to have the will of not just the citizens and the people of Pakistan, who I believe are behind Pakistan becoming, more than just this country to be able to protect and preserve its own culture and sovereignty, but to be able to protect and serve others as well. That is the goal. Pakistan's military, though, has always been far more superior than other countries. A lot of people know that. And so the enhancement, the continuation of buying their weapons, a lot of them from China, it's to be seen whether or not they're going to buy them from the United States. But there's opportunities there for sure. But the difference is that I think over the last year, like I was saying at the beginning of this, that there's been a brand new branding of Pakistan that has completely, I think, pulled them off the rungs of the ladder, pulled them out of this box that they were in of being known as a supporter of terrorism, etc., and seeing as now a fighter of terrorism, and to be seen as an ally, and to be seen as somebody that partners can rely on. And we saw that with those Islamabad 1.0 talks. And I say 1.0 because I'm still hopeful that Islamabad will host another round of talks there.
Yeah, that seems to be the mood there in Islamabad. I'm in Lahore, but I can tell you I share that optimism. There's many a slip between the cup and the lip. Durrani Sahib, you're a former diplomat. Laurie makes a very interesting point about diplomatic space being increased. Do diplomats feel more empowered on the back of decisive battlefield victories, or do diplomatic challenges of negotiations or pleading cases for the countries remain roughly the same, regardless of what the results in the wars are?
Let me also add that diplomacy never stops working, even if during the thick of the war. And this is what you have seen even now. Right now, we are seeing a period of lull, but diplomacy is working. Of course, there are setbacks, but the drafts are changing hands, coming and going between the US and Iran, and that's working. Of course, the main problem is uncertainty, and that uncertainty needs to be removed.
But there are no drafts. There are no drafts being exchanged between India and Pakistan. That's what my point is. While between US and Iran.
No, but you are referring to Iran. US.
No. I'm referring to India and Pakistan. That while Iran and US, despite all that has happened.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about America and Iran.
India and Pakistan.
But with regard to India, yes. Right now in India, there is no appetite, or at least they are portraying like that. But that is at their own peril. They know our address. From Pakistan's side, we have always been ready for a dialogue. It is up to the Indians whether they want to have a dialogue or not. But if they are ready, they know our address, yes.
They know our address. Very quickly, Dr. Flavis, if you could tell, why hasn't diplomacy worked between India and Pakistan, despite the fact that in the worst of conditions, US and Iran seem to be talking. There are back-channel engagement even between Ukraine and Russia. But this doesn't seem to be happening between India and Pakistan. What's your take?
Yeah, actually, you put two different wars or conflicts that I have fundamentally, they are very differently. Ukraine and Russia war is differently than what happened in May last year, your war with India, or India war with Pakistan. The fundamental issue is that Russia is a presence or is occupying a kind of swamp of Ukraine, and they are there, and the forces and the technique and the type of methodology they use is differently that you are using within. Related to your conflict, you have almost similar. You have a similarity in the type of military equipment that you use. Also, your air fight jets are very competitive from Chinese, getting from Chinese. Now you are going to product yourself. That means you had a very good lesson learned from last year. So that capability in air fight, it's a huge one. You control the data. Managing the data control in the airspace was very vital on this case. In the case of Ukraine doesn't use any kind of air fighters, only drones, different types of drones that could see evolution in warfare in terms of drones. That is a little bit different. But in your case, the capability in precise ammunition and also drones that are is much more advanced and much more manageable. So that was the fundamental. There is a fundamental differences between two words.
Point well made and understood. Our debate continues. We just take a little break here. This is a program break. It doesn't break the tempo of the debate, and we will offer you more insightful perspectives after we come back into the studios. Welcome back to Redline Global Special Edition. Our debate continues as our studios remain active here in Lahore, Samaa studio, and there in Beirut, Lebanon, Sen studio. Let me take a moment to thank our panelists who were with us before the break started, Laurie Watkins, Asif Ali Durrani, and Dr. Flevis. The debate about India and Pakistan is not going to end here. We will have another insightful discussion on this from our Beirut studio. So over to you, Sahil.
Thank you so much, Talat. It was a riveting conversation that you had with your panel of experts. Last year's 4-day conflict, remember, Talat, was definitely a conflict between India and Pakistan. It was fought on the fronts, but it was fought on two fronts, rather. There was one military, of course, and the other one was digital. And on the digital battlefield, remember, Talat, the weapons were false narratives, from fake pilot captures to imaginary coups. The misinformation was sweeping. It was coordinated. And in some cases, it was deliberate. Sarah Gill of the South Era Network reports from Islamabad. Take a look.
India and Pakistan's 4-day conflict last year was as much a war of military might as it was a war of false narratives. Narratives that were propelled online by prominent politicians and even mainstream broadcasters. Now, if you were in India last May, you might have come across some of these false narratives, such as India capturing a Pakistani pilot, a Karachi port on fire, and perhaps the most breaking and exclusive of them all, although completely false. Meanwhile, if you were in Pakistan last May, you might have witnessed and even experienced Pakistan lifting its ban on X. Again, none of this was true. Researchers have labeled this as both misinformation, but also deliberate disinformation to drive engagement with emotionally charged content in a bid for governments to build public support at home for the war. But perhaps most alarming was that broadcasters with huge social media followings and real influence were also spreading this misinformation. Some did apologize for their part in spreading lies, but there's something we must confront in the region, and that is the fundamental role of a journalist, which is to question, interrogate, and fact-check. Press freedom is a well-known challenge in the region, but this conflict brought in what modern warfare looks in today's age. It's fought on two fronts, one militarily and one digital. And on the digital front, the line between journalist and soldier in some cases disappeared.